We are now thrilled to be joined by, I'm not just saying this because he's on the podcast and joining us today. Easily, don't roll your eyes, Sean. Easily one of my top three favorite hockey players to cover and doing this a long time. I mean, Bobby Holik's number one, as Marian knows. That doesn't go anywhere. Top three easy of all time. Marian Hossa joins us. Marian, first of all, thanks for doing this. Congratulations on everything going on in your life.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it, and nice to see you.
So, look, I'm going to start with a book because, I want to help you out. We want to promote it. I know it's going to be good because Scott Powers was a part of it, teammate here at the Athletic. You have such an interesting story to tell, Marian. So let's just start there. It comes out, for those listening, it comes out November 20th. Great holiday gift. Everybody should just get it. What went into that? Like you were never in dealing with you were never a big like self promoter, right? Like you never wanted to really talk about yourself. Never, you were always, I thought, really humble. So I thought it was interesting that this was something that you were willing to dive into. What went into that thought process, and what was that like for you?
Well, yeah, the book is coming actually November 8th.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Good
that's all
start.
right. But I after
Amateur.
when I stopped playing, I started thinking, like there is like guys writing books, and I think I have an interesting story to tell, and I'm pretty private person. I don't have a
Yeah.
open Instagram account or Facebook account, so I'm pretty like I'm not saying like I don't want people to know anything about me, but I kind of like my privacy. And I like to, tell the story about me a little bit more, so my fans and people know a little bit more who Marian Hossa is, not just the hockey player, but also the guy outside of hockey, husband, brother, father.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like that was the right time. We had the time after when my career was over, and I decided to pick the writer Scott Powers, who did an excellent job, I believe, and we start writing the book.
That's great. You talk about being a father. I hear baby in the background. How's fatherhood?
Yeah, that's a third one. She's 2 months
Third
old.
one.
So,
Oh man.
so actually now I enjoy the time being basically every day home, because
Yeah.
the first two, you were playing, so you were on the road half a time, and you were missing lots of different things. And right now
Mhm.
I enjoy every day with her, and it's nice. It's almost 10 years difference between the
Wow.
middle one, and now I have more time at home, so definitely enjoy it.
So what was it like? What was it like working with Powers? Did he pry anything out of you? Did he get any stories out of there where you're like, I don't know about that one that made it into the book?
Well, I know Scott from Chicago.
I
Obviously,
know.
we did lots of interviews, and
Hmm.
I believe he did an excellent job. He traveled to Slovakia. I was in Chicago. We did lots of Zoom calls, telephone calls, and we spent lots of time on this book. So I do the two version. Basically, one is gonna be North American, and the
Mm-hmm.
one I'm just finishing to have a Slovak version, and it's gonna be a little bit more colorful. And definitely, Scott was great.
Oh, so you saved all the good stuff for the
Yeah, that's not
Slovak.
fair. Wait a second. We gotta get the See, the
No,
key is that what we have to do is get the Slovak version and get it translated,
That's
so we
right.
can
For sure.
we'll work that out ourselves.
you guys
Did
are smart.
anything? Yeah, using our heads, right? Did any? It's been funny hearing. It seems like a lot of folks have worked on books over the last few years, mainly because a lot of people were inside, didn't have much better to do. Like, was there scheduling stuff that was it a problem getting all this done because of the the COVID stuff and the pandemic and all that? Was that like a logistical problem for you and Scott, or did it kind of go off easily?
I think we had the kind of window. I asked him like, how long, it's because this is totally new for me.
Hmm.
I never, wrote a book, and I asked everybody, like the publisher, like, what is the time,
Hmm.
write a book, basically. I thought they're gonna tell me like maybe 6 months, because I like to work,
Yeah.
but
Right.
obviously it doesn't work that way. Probably there is some books you can do it, but he said like approximately autobiography. They said 2 years. I said 2 years. I was like, what I'm gonna do 2 years? And they were right, like you got, after a while, you got like, okay, I need the time, to kind of focus and do the things right. And with everything on the COVID and all the situation, it's gonna be around 2 years when we started, and when it's gonna be out. So they were right. They knew what they were talking about, and I think it was still good timing. So I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
The stuff I always found most interesting, Marian, you're a Hall of Fame player, incredible player, and you were part of like massive transactions, like 2 huge trades, 2 huge, like the number one get in free agency. I was, Sean's in Pittsburgh, so I was so close to that when you were in Atlanta, and that trade happened. I always love when we get guys kind of after the fact, and maybe can, with the time and the perspective you have, like that moment where you go from Atlanta to Pittsburgh and you're now playing with Sidney Crosby, and that recruitment to stay. Like, I remember stories of him calling you from vacations and all this stuff. What was that like? Like, how, what was that moment in time like for you?
Going from Pittsburgh to Detroit.
Just going to that trade to Pittsburgh, like going from a team kind of at the bottom of the standings to now with all this pressure on in Pittsburgh, playing with the greatest player of his generation, Sidney Crosby, like with that, definitely. Flipping that switch.
So basically, for me, that was pretty simple. I had the success in individual statistics. When I was in Atlanta, I had like 1 year 92 points, then I get 100 points. And that was great. Don't get me wrong, really offensive team. But I was at the age around 28, 29 in my prime, and I felt like I want to accomplish something bigger. Not just getting 100 points or scoring close to 50 goals, but I wanna touch the Stanley Cup. I wanna win it. I wanna experience it, and that was my drive. So. I told in Atlanta to the owners at the time and the GM, Don Waddle, I only signed with you guys because they offered me really good money for long term to stay in Atlanta. But I said, like, if you guys are willing to bring some key elements to the team, so we are going to be able to succeed in the playoffs, then I'll consider to stay. But otherwise, if I don't see anybody, coming here, I'm not gonna resign. Don't get me wrong. So obviously, they never signed anybody big, and I just felt like, I know I'm gonna go, somewhere. So there was a day in Montreal.
Yeah, everyone thought you were going to Montreal. Like, I remember people
that.
like you were supposed to just go right across the hallway to the other locker room.
So I woke up in my room in Montreal, and Don Waddell just telling me, like, Hoss, you don't have to go for the morning skate, So obviously I knew something is happening, and so I just went for breakfast with the guys, and I was waiting where I'm gonna get traded, and I was waiting, and there was like a couple minutes towards the time limit.
Yeah.
And sudden Don just calling me a few minutes before the trading deadline. He's like, Hoss, I got you a new team. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, oh, it's Pittsburgh. I was like, I didn't say yes, but in my mind I was like, yes. So because I just pictured the young, talented team, chance to win, and basically that was my drive, and I couldn't wait, to be part of the team, and playing with Sid, that was exciting. Obviously, at the time he was hurt, and when I got there, first game I signed, I basically played for them. We flew to Boston with Pascal Dupuis, and I got hurt right away first game. So he was hurt, I was hurt, and it took a while when we started playing together. And that was great time in Pittsburgh. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. How close did you come to staying?
Yeah.
When they were putting the full court press to keep you as a free agent, like how close was Pittsburgh?
Oh, that was really close. Tell you the truth, actually, I'm in my book. I have. So in my book I'm writing about it.
Okay, I'm not trying to steal any of the book's thunder.
Well, I can say all pigs. So I was pretty close to staying because obviously I said, like, it's great hockey town, lots of history. They had success. One of my like my favorite players are, Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. And when I met Mario Lemieux at that time, I was like, looking at the Jesus at him. And that was just wow for me. Like this is the guy I was looking up to. And now he's in the dressing room talking to me, and that was just amazing feeling. So definitely, I was considering if I wouldn't sign in Detroit, that would be, I stay in Pittsburgh. But I made the choice.
Yeah, I know Ken Holland loves to tell the story about. I think he always says he was pumping gas when Rich Winter called him and said, "Hey, how about 1 year on Marian Hossa?" And like that was such a, in the way Rich explains it, and I would like to hear your. But essentially, it was, you wanted to go learn to win, like from this team that knew. Like I think everyone thought at the time you were trying to cherry pick, the Stanley Cup favorites, whatever. But it was like, hey, I want to go play with Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg and Nicholas Lidstrom and figure out, like, learn the things that I haven't learned yet. Is that a fair characterization of that?
Yeah. So basically, going to Detroit, I always was looking into that team before I was even in Atlanta. Like, what's about this team? Like, how they are so special? How come they are winning? Like, what's they cooking in the kitchen? Like the professionalism and everything else. Like that was like kind of just in my head all the time. Like, why these guys are so good? And I just, won. My wife just came to tell me like, baby is sleeping, so be quiet.
Oh, sorry.
Like lower your voice, but I get excited, I'm telling the story.
Don't wake the baby.
Yeah, I'm not our. It's not our fault, Mrs. Hossa. Please, don't be mad at us.
So basically, obviously, I want to go to Detroit because obviously they have a great team. I knew there is a good chance to win, but that wasn't everything. I knew if I'm gonna learn from the best, from the 4-time Stanley Cup champion, what they're doing in that dressing room, what is right to be better hockey player, and that was inspiring me to sign there. I had a great offer from Edmonton for long term, but I wasn't even blinking. Like the money wasn't the issue. I wasn't caring about the money, and I was like really my focus was in the tunnel, like winning and learning from the best. And right now, when I look back, like what I was thinking, I had 5 years on the table playing with the best player, Sidney Crosby, and I was like,
it's wild, Marian. It's a crazy decision. It really is.
I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you said it, because I was gonna say, did you ever like kind of was there any point in Detroit where you're like, I screwed up, like I made a mistake?
Yeah, no, you know what? No regrets at all. Like even if they beat us, that was definitely for me personally, that was the toughest summer mentally. Definitely that was tough to swallow, but that year made me so much better player. I learned so much. I got mentally stronger, and in that summer, I went to the summer, and I heard lots of jokes on me. I heard like lots of guys they feel sorry for me, and I said to myself, this either gonna break you or make you better. And I wanna do the second. And I told myself, okay, like just block everything and start training even harder than before and learn from your mistakes. And that's what I tried to do. Obviously, I knew I'm going to be free agent again because I wasn't signing with Detroit, and some other team going to pick me, and be the best for them you can be. And that was my goal. So I trained as hard as possible, and I learned from my mistakes, maybe what I would be doing different in playoffs or when the time comes. And I think that year playing with Datsyuk and Zetterberg, one of the two best two-way players ever, I learned so much to be a better hockey player. And that year gave me so much. Even when we lost, we didn't win that year, but that year was a key breaker for me next years.
Was that the biggest thing that you brought from Detroit to Chicago? Like that dedication to the two-way play? Because like we saw, you finally got the credit you deserved, I think, is like being a great two-way player once you made it to Chicago. But is that something you felt like you brought from Detroit over there? Is that the biggest thing that you learned and kind of brought over to your new team?
Yeah, like two-way is one thing, but I think the professionalism, I think I was pretty professional before, but I learned from Nicholas Lindstrom, how to
Yeah.
handle when the things didn't go right. He was always calm and just never overreact. And, that dressing room with Chris Chelios and sitting on a plane with those two icons just gave me so much. And I learned so much. And, when I knew I'm going to sign to Chicago, I saw how many talented players they have. And I realized, I don't need to just put on offense in numbers and just worry about goals and these things. I want to be like, the example, like how Datsuk and Zetterbergs, and those guys, Drapers, Malbis, like those guys who won. I saw them in the gym every time, and after the game, and that was just inspiring for me to learn. How can I be better player? And I brought it, I think, that dressing room. And I'm not big talker. I think those guys saw it from me, and they just realized if they want to be better, they need to do a little bit more. Just focus on the talent they have. They need to go do extra more work, and we got lucky we won.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Chicago, and all the kind of the Stanley Cups that had eluded you, come to fruition. I did want to touch on the two-way play, because now it's part of your legacy, Marian. It's fun because anytime there's a bigger winger who plays defense and can score, it's like this is a Marian Hossa type. Like that's you've left, like that's you. Like it's like Andre Palat. It becomes, oh, he's Marian Hossa. Then it's like this next generation, Matt Boldy in Minnesota. Oh, he plays a lot like Marian Hossa. What does that mean to you? Like that's the representative of kind of your career when you hear young players or players now getting that comparison.
Yeah, that's something you don't kind of plan, right? That just so that's obviously make me feel great. Somebody think that way, and they saw me in somebody, and that just that's really great. But it's something you don't play for, right? You just kind of you deserve it, when you accomplish something, and when you have like your focus, your dream, and you want to go for it no matter what. Maybe you lose one time, you're on the down, losing side. You lose second time, but you're still like focusing on your goal, and you want to win. When you want to go for it, and at the end, good things happen if you work hard, if you focus, and I'm glad, I won. I was hoping to win one Stanley Cup, and I got three, and I am pretty lucky.
Three's pretty good.
I had
more than one.
Great players around me, so I got lucky.
What do you think of?
You could have five easy. I think 5 Stanley Cups easy. Just for the record. How close do you think you came to winning another one in Chicago? I think that like some of those King series, it was like one goal away. It's wild to me to think about how close.
I think 2014 season when the Kings won, right? I think conference finals.
Series was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it could go right either way, and we would be in a final against, I believe, there was Rangers, and I think like a better team than New York that time. Obviously, but that happened. They won, and they're champions.
So you're the first. Let's see. Your ceremony in Chicago is, I believe, on the 20th. You're the first guy from those teams to get the jersey hoisted there. What is that? There's going to be so many more of those guys, whether it's Kane or Taves or Keith. Like there's going to be a parade of jerseys that get retired there. But what does that mean to be the first? It is wild to think that that's kind of where we're at now.
You mean the first from that generation?
From that group.
Yeah, I mean, when Rocky Words announced the news to me, I don't know when it was. I was expecting, he's gonna announce me. I'm gonna sign a one-day contract so I can retire as a Blackhawk, and that was the goal for me. And he told me two great news, and obviously the second one was even better when he told me like they wanna retire my jersey, and I was speechless. I don't cry pretty much at all, and I almost had like tears in my eyes. Like that was like so touching, and European guy, not even drafted by the team, which is rare. They want to retire my jersey. I was like, wow, that means something, and that's a special moment. And I'm thanking Ward's family for it, and obviously have a great people around me, like the coaching staff, players, trainers, and without them, I wouldn't be going there.
That's amazing. What a great accomplishment. Do you have, I mean, there's always speculation, teams that'll bring you back with the book done, and like, what are you spending your time with, or what are your kind of next aspirations?
So like, you mean like what I do in free time?
Yeah. Like, what are you like? Yeah. Do you want to get, I mean, I'm sure you learn so much, you have so much knowledge if you wanted to get into a front office, or like, what are your next goals?
Yeah, so basically we are talking with the Blackhawks about a certain position, but obviously, me being here in Europe, it's kind of difficult to be involved fully with the team. And I explained it to them that it would be different if I live in Chicago. I definitely would like to be, doing something more to be involved with the team. But we have something on a paper soon. When I come to Chicago, we're gonna have a meetings, and I believe. We're gonna announce something soon because I like to be attached with the team, even like in a long distance, coming to Chicago maybe 3-4 times a year, and that would be nice to get attached with the team. But I have my company here in Slovakia. It's kind of totally different. I'm in the food business. I have like 250 employees. And we got like 3,500 items what we're selling, and like 50 distribution vehicles, 7 warehouses. So we got like
wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on a second.
That's a big operation.
Yeah,
my goodness,
that's a big operation here in Slovakia, and long story short, I invested a longer time, and now basically I have with my people running it, and so it's a big operation, but I had like good group of people around it, so I don't have to be involved in daily basis. I'm on the phone quite a bit, but I don't have to be over there all the time. So the thing is running, and we're doing so far pretty good, and yeah, it's totally different.
That's wild. How are you as a boss? What kind of boss are you running 250 employees?
I think I'm pretty fair, pretty simple. But what I told them, I am really looking for the discipline. That's what I brought from the sport. I think the discipline make you better, and I brought it to there. I kind of talking to them in a hockey language a little bit, so sometimes they are smiling because it's totally different, but they understand what I try to get out of it. And I think for them it's good change, right? Because they have other bosses, and everybody's like a little bit more into the business. I bring the hockey words to them in Slovak, and I think they like it. And it's been a good experience also for me, because it's totally something different out of hockey. But you can bring some elements from the sports to the business.
Yeah, there's a nice new generation of Slovak players in the league. Now. Like, have you watched?
Yeah.
What can you say about Slafkovsky and Nemec specifically? I know those are guys you've probably seen a good bit of over the last few years.
Yeah. So after a long time for Slovakia, that was the most successful draft year, and definitely whole country really watch the draft, because I had the text messages in the morning. I woke up in the middle of the night, and there's like text messages just flying. It's like Slovakia taking over the hockey world. It's like. Obviously, so I knew right away Slafkovsky is going to be first, but I wasn't expecting, Nemec going right away second. I knew he's going to be first rounder, top 10, but, first, second Slovakian guys, like I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then you got Phil Meshar, going in the first round. So, I mean, great start for the young Slovaks, big splash for Slovakia. And right now, everybody watching how Juraj especially is doing in Montreal, and I believe he's gonna be really, really good player. It's gonna take some time to adjust to that style from Europe, but he got his big, strong. He got great shot, obviously. So lots of good things, I believe, for him coming up.
Is it? I saw you. Good. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, well, like, what jumps out the most when you're watching Uri play? Like, like, is it the shot, or when you're watching him now in the NHL?
Yeah, he could play any line. I believe
Yeah,
his guy. Obviously you don't want to take first round in the fourth line, but
right.
basically the strength he got, it's amazing. Like what he did when I watched the World Championships or Olympic Games when he played, you could see the potential already in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Finland, he wasn't any big striker, like not big goal scorer by
Yeah.
any means, but with his shot, with his ability to play physical game when he needs it, he can protect the puck and take it to the net. I think when he start using that size even more, he's gonna be really dangerous, and he can put up good numbers.
I saw you compared him to Yager. Does that
Wow.
still hold up?
Uh, I said it.
Apparently, I just googled Marian Hossa and Juraj Slafkovsky. It said you said that to Thomas Prokop's with Sport.sk.
There is, I wouldn't call it like, I don't think that's exactly, I don't want to make any false,
Yeah.
but there is
wasn't trying to put you on the spot, but it was Yager and you said Richard Zednik, who's another really great.
yeah, there is only one Yager, right?
That's a good
I
comparison.
I love JJ when he played in Pittsburgh. It was like God for me. I read his book. I think that was my first book. Me and my brother read, with 500 squats when he did. But I saw, because we play against Jager team in Slovakia. We had like exhibition game, and we play against them. And so I told him after the party, because he was talking with my brother, because they played together in New York, right? So I came up to him. I told my brother, it's like, did you tell him? Like he was lying in his book. He's like, and he looked at me. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, Jay, like you didn't do 500 squats like you were writing in the book. You did 1,000 probably. Like you way better than everybody else. So he started laughing.
That's great.
That's great.
That's
awesome. But came back to Juraj Slafkovsky. I
Mm-hmm.
like his style of skating is like similar, like Richard Zednik, but
Yeah.
bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some similarities with Jager, like when he, hold off people with one hand, and so there is like mix of some little things of those two players.
Awesome. Well, Marian, thanks for doing this. I'm glad we made it without disrupting the baby too much, I hope. And congratulations on the Hall of Fame, the jersey, the book, all the exciting things that are coming that have happened. Great seeing you again. And thanks for doing this.
Yeah, good to see you again. And, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.